Hello tipsters and tricksters, welcome back to my channel and welcome to another vintage tips and tricks video.
What have you got if you haven't got love?
Today is a quite long overdue video. It is about the closure of the Vintage Tips and Tricks Facebook group that I ran for 3 years. I actually filmed this video a couple of other times, but I wasn't in a very good headspace just with having just closed the group and with COVID and losing work and just other things in my life. I just was kind of in that negative spiral where everything I talk about ends up turning negative, and I didn't want that video to be this, so apologies for it taking quite a while, but that was the reason. I really wanted it to be a straightforward and honest video, but not to like dip negative just because of my mood, if that makes sense. So for anyone that was in the Vintage Tips and Tricks group, you'll know that back in May I did close the group. I put a post up that I will share here about why I closed the group. I just want to preface this by saying that the group was something really wonderful in my life that I really enjoyed running and that I was really proud of. I started it as an offshoot of my YouTube channel, and it was supposed to be a place where my community of people that I chatted with in the comment section of my YouTube could kind of get together more easily and engage with each other as well, because obviously on the YouTube they're commenting to me and I'm responding, but they're not it's not really the best platform that's set up in a way for them to communicate with each other, and I wanted us to have a sense of community rather than people just following me and commenting on my videos. And over time, people came over from the channel, and that's kind of how it grew initially to like the first 3,000 or so people, which was really fun, and I was engaging really nicely with everyone. After that, Facebook started suggesting it to people, so it started to grow, and people that were joining didn't necessarily know who I was, which was also completely fine. As I say, I wanted it to be a community, and people were messaging me and saying they really enjoyed the space and that the people in it were really lovely and they just felt very welcome there, and I was completely fine with that. I was finding once the group started getting between the like 5,000 to 10,000 that because people didn't know who I was, and because that was becoming the vast majority of people, when I posted or commented or engaged, I got almost no engagement back. So I would make a post and like maybe get 3 or 4 likes and maybe 1 comment, which didn't really matter so much. At that point I was kind of like, look, okay, it's not what I started it out to be, but you know, if people are really enjoying the space, and a few people had said they loved how inclusive the space was, and so that kind of became my main focus. I really wanted it to be a really open-minded, welcoming group where no one felt marginalized or excluded. That kind of became the main focus. Even though it was a vintage group, I really just wanted to make sure that everybody felt like it was a safe, open space for them. So for about I don't know, 6 or so months I was running that, but it was growing really quickly, and so at that point I got moderators on board because I was kind of putting out fires left, right and center, and I wasn't always confident that I necessarily on my own had the best judgment and experience to be doing that, and that I was necessarily approaching everything the right way, because we had people from all walks of life. It was a very diverse group, and I'm a straight white woman and I don't have all the answers, believe it or not. So it was really important to me to get a good group of moderators that we could work as a team to maintain the group, and I have to say that the group honestly became what it was in the long run because of the mods. They were the most amazing group of people. I picked people that I already knew from the comment section and stuff, kind of where they were coming from and how they dealt with situations, and it was often people that would come in and kind of point things out, or you know, defend other members, or people that just seem to know how to engage really well with other people and deflate situations, but were also coming from a point of view that I felt represented the group and what I wanted the group to stand for. So I approached those people and asked them to become mods, and they did, and they just like, I can't say how much the moderators became my favorite part of the group, because in the long run, as a member, I wasn't really getting much out of the group after the first sort of 12 months, but then the thing that became my focus was really adminning the group and the mods and getting to chat with the mods and stuff. They were just the loveliest group of people, and I just feel so blessed that I engaged with them. And I have to say a massive thank you to them, because in all honesty, they really helped me become better at managing a group like this. I learned so much from them, and there were so many times where like I thought I was going to approach a situation a certain way, and I would say to the mods, oh, I'm going to do blah blah blah, and a few of them in particular would pipe up and just kind of say like, maybe that's not the best way to go about it. Like, you have to look at it from the perspective of the people who are commenting, or perhaps the people in the group who are, you know, feeling like this person is attacking them or whatever. Like, you need to maybe look at it through a different lens. Depending on the situation, the approach needs to be different depending on the race, the ethnicity, the culture, the like social setting, how the people that are in the conversation might identify themselves. Like, it really, there isn't a one fits all approach, and so the mods really helped me figure out the best course of action, and as a team we really worked well together, and they were very patient with me when I made silly decisions or mistakes. So I have to say that they're just the most amazing people. And the really great news is that when I closed the group, they started a daughter group called Inclusive Vintage Aesthetic, which I'll link down below. You know, as I say, they were really the ones making the group great, and they have carried the torch over. So if you're looking for a group that has that kind of vibe to it, definitely go and check that out. There's a ton of other great groups that started as a result too. So if you were in the Vintage Tips and Tricks group and you still haven't joined another group, I did pin groups that were started up the top, and the last few messages in the group from other people were also about other groups that started. So you could probably join a bunch of really cool groups as a result of this one closing. But yeah, I just really wanted to highlight how amazing the mods were and how much I appreciated them. I've put everyone's name up on the screen. I have stayed to first names because some people asked not to have their full name added, and I didn't kind of want to single them out, if that makes sense. So I felt it was best to stick to first names. But if you were in the Vintage Tips and Tricks group, you know who the mods were, and I just wanted to acknowledge those people and thank them so much for everything that they did. But getting back to why it closed. So at the time when it closed, obviously we were kind of in the midst of the whole COVID pandemic outbreak. We'd been quite a few weeks in lockdown at that point in London. We were like really full on lockdown, couldn't see anyone, and as many of you know, I went through a stage where like I lost all of my work, and I realized that because of my visa I wasn't eligible for any kind of government funding because I didn't live in Australia. My government back home wasn't going to do anything to support me, so I was just in a pretty dark place at that time and feeling very negative and sorry for myself, which is never a good place to be, and I moved on from that and become a bit more proactive. But I was just already struggling with stuff, and then by that point the group had become a space that I didn't really engage with as an individual, and that left me almost exclusively dealing with it from a moderator and admin point of view, which was just all negative. So like every 2 days the moderators would message me to say there was an issue that needed to be dealt with. In my DMs I would have people complaining about stuff that was happening in the group, and from inside the group, from what I understand, 99% of people didn't know there was any issue, which is great because that means that we were doing our job, and I really hope that people did feel like it was the space that we were trying to make it into and maintain. But from the mod point of view, it started to feel very negative, and from an admin point of view, because when we did have to block people and kick them out of the group, which did happen, you know, like not hundreds or anything, but enough that it was kind of a regular occurrence. And those people would then find my personal Facebook page and my Instagram DM and my email and just harass me. And on a daily basis it felt like my time spent on the Vintage Tips and Tricks group was just negative, and I wasn't really getting anything in return other than the knowledge that other people were enjoying it, which was enough for a while. But after a bit, and with the accumulation of other things in my life, I was just like, look, something has to go, and it ended up being the group, because that was the thing that was kind of like in my face negative. And when people find you on DMs and emails and they're just attacking you because they're upset and angry, when you're not in a good headspace, it's very hard to brush that off. You need to kind of be thick-skinned and confident, and I wasn't in that space anyway, and so it was really just getting to me. I don't want it to come across like the people in the group were awful or anything like that. 99% of the members were the most amazing, beautiful, caring, supportive people, and a lot of the time when, you know, problems cropped up, the members were the first ones to jump up and defend each other, or, you know, stand up for what the right thing was. And I think that's something to be very proud of, and I am very proud of the members for their part in making the group really special, because it was really special. And for the time that it was open, I feel very proud of it, and I feel very glad that I ran it and that I was a part of it. So in no way am I kind of looking back negatively on the time with the group. It's just I feel like it had run its course with me at the helm. And as I said in the post, I wasn't comfortable because the group was attached to my brand, Vintage Tips and Tricks, and to my name. Even if I passed on the admin, it would still be attached to me historically, if that makes sense. And I feel like if I wasn't there to make sure the group was what I wanted it to be, kind of morally and ethically, beyond the vintage thing, I no longer had any control of making sure that it represented what I wanted it to represent. And that reflects both ways. You know, it reflects on the group, but it also reflects back on me and my brand and who I am as a person. And I wasn't comfortable just letting it go and not having any knowledge of what was going to happen to it. I felt like it was better to close it and end things on a plus and on a high while people were still enjoying it and it still had a really good reputation. And I knew that the members and that the moderators would go on to open more groups that kind of had the same vibe to them and were just as lovely and as inclusive, because there's so many capable people from that group and the moderators were so capable. I knew it wasn't necessary for me to carry it on for there to be a space on Facebook that was that positive and good, you know. I just didn't want to run the risk of it turning a corner because I dropped the reins, but it's still being associated with me, if that makes sense. I would rather end it on a high. So that's why I archived it, so anyone that was a member can continue to look at everything from the past, all the posts from the past and everything. Everyone still has access to it. It's just that no one can post anything now and no one can join the group. But if you are looking for that same space, do go and check out the daughter group. I have checked in with the mods since then and they say it's going really well, and also it is a lot smaller. And I think when groups get too big, the reality is that you have too many people in order to kind of maintain things. It becomes very hard because people can kind of fly under the radar and then negativity can pop up. Whereas when a group is smaller, everyone kind of knows each other, if you know what I mean. So I think it kind of, by starting the group again, it kind of got rid of the dead wood, because realistically, although we had 14,000 members, there was only like, I think 6,000 active members, so people who were actually engaging and commenting and checking in on the group regularly, which means there's an awful like thousands of people who just like aren't even part of the group really. And so I think in some ways it was good to just kind of hit the reset button, you know. So I know some people were really sad, and I know a lot of people were a bit annoyed with me because I didn't hand over the reins or you know, change the name of the group or something like that, but I just felt this was the best decision. And you may not agree with me, but in the end I had to do what I felt was right. But as I say, there is lots of very cool, very capable people on Facebook who've started vintage groups that are wonderful and have so much going for them and that are going to be very welcoming to you. So I do hope you find them. As I say, check out the last few posts in the Vintage Tips and Tricks group, and also I'm sure you can ask people in the new group if they know of other groups, if you want to be a member of a few different groups. So do go and check that out, and I hope you can all understand my position on that. Whether I will open the group up again in the future, I don't know. It's archived, so that is an option. Please don't message me and start pressuring me to do that. It's not on the horizon anytime soon. It's just a question I've been asked. So yeah, that's all I wanted to say, guys. It's not a long video today, but I felt like it was something that needed to be addressed because I did get a lot of questions about it, and I got a lot of absolutely beautiful messages just thanking me for having run the group and telling me how much people loved the group and appreciated it while it was going, and that means so much. And I just want to say thank you to you all for all of your love and support, and yeah, say that don't worry, there's more places like that out there. We've got a pretty cool community, and I know there's bad eggs out there, there's bad eggs in every community, but there are some really fantastic people doing really good work and you can find them. So don't worry and don't give up on that hope, okay? Anyway guys, that's the video. If you liked it, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe and comment down below. Let me know what you thought of the video and any suggestions you have for future videos. Follow me on my Instagram and check out my Patreon if you haven't already. The link is down below. It's a chance to see a bit more content from me and support the channel if you love what you see here. Otherwise, I will see you in the next video. Bye!